All right, this is a tutorial on how to actually write your initial response. So after you have accessed the article on Kami, and after you have highlighted some of the main ideas, and you have a pretty good idea of what's important, all right, then you can go to the actual writing part, which is the actual discussion. Okay, you will then copy and paste. You can copy and paste the template if you are going to use those sentence starters. What I would do if I was you is use the sentence starters that are there for the paragraph. And if you think of something different, then change it around. Okay. So I am going to copy this and I am going to paste it, pretending that I am one of you. Okay. And here is the first sentence of the paragraph. According to the article, should 16-year-olds be allowed to vote? Okay. We can say there are some advocates of allowing the voting age to be lower than 18 for several reasons. Okay. So that could be the topic sentence or how you start. We're going to give a little bit more background here and say that the voting age used to be 21. Okay, but after the Vietnam War, according to this article, the voting age changed to 18. And the reasoning behind that was that if men and women, especially at the time, of course, men could be drafted into the military to fight in the US military, they were old enough to vote. And so then a legislation was passed. Okay, that's the 26th Amendment to the Constitution that basically ratified or approved, was approved by 3/4 of the states to add it as an amendment to the Constitution. Previous to that, other amendments that regulate voting rights are the 14th, 15th, 19th Amendments, which mainly focused on like voting rights for women, for example. That's the 19th Amendment. And voting rights also for African Americans, for example, or just based on citizenship, etc. Now, down here, you have what supporters say and what the critics say. All right, so that's going to be important too. But right now, I'm going to mention that the 26th Amendment is the reason why the voting age was changed from 21 to 18. Okay, so I'm going to go here and we can say, we can change this later. I'm going to change it maybe to say when the 26th Amendment was ratified. This term, to ratify, basically means to approve a law or a legislation when a bill becomes a law. Okay. In 1971, the voting age was lowered from 21 to 18 because it was right after the Vietnam War, and many people that had been in the military were under 21, and if they were old enough to fight, they were old enough to vote. And I'm going to use quotations here because that's taking something that's coming right out of the old enough to fight, they were old enough to vote, right there. So coming right from the article itself. Okay, so there you go. Now I am going to use my next sentence starter. Some supporters say that today, okay, because we're talking about how this applies to today, and we're going to go over here, okay, that today 16-year-olds should be able to vote as well. And here are some of the reasons. Many of them are taxpayers. There are many laws that affect them, especially education policy. Down here, there are other reasons mentioned, that there are a lot of 16, 17-year-olds living with adult responsibilities, and therefore they should have a voice in decisions, government decisions that affect them. Okay, so then you would go ahead and state some of those reasons. All right, for example, some supporters say that today many 16-year-olds, correct that, are living as adults, and many of them are taxpayers. Say, and therefore deserve representation. Okay, and then you're gonna take the next sentence starter. On the other hand, critics state that, and then you would state some of the opinions of the critics. So here, the critics say, for example, 16-year-olds are not mature enough, or that many of them are still under the responsibility of their parents, and that there is a general notion that 18 is when you reach adulthood, not 16. So you would try to incorporate some of those ideas right in this next sentence, and in the end, provide your opinion, give a reason. Maybe it's your own experience. If you insert a quote from the article, you want to say something like, the article mentions that, and in conclusion. And it doesn't have to be super long, it can be fairly short. All right. And so you just keep going and finishing up the article, providing evidence of that article in your writing.